Hello, and welcome to MsCon's virtual volunteer orientation. Today we'll be covering everything you need to know in order to be one of our amazing volunteers. First and foremost, you must register as an attendee in order to volunteer for MsCon. While we recognize that some other conventions will comp in their volunteers, MsCon has opted to compensate our volunteers in other ways, such as Cthulhu Cash and fairy gifts, but we'll touch more on that a little later. If you've submitted your volunteer application before the start of the convention, we'll create a schedule for you based on your preferred departments. Typically, you will only be scheduled for 4 hours a day, but you are more than welcome to sign up for extra shifts to earn more Cthulhu Cash and votes. You can find an open shifts list at the volunteer info table where you can sign up for any extra shifts you'd like to. If you do sign up for extra shifts, please be sure to notate them on your schedule or personal calendar so as not to forget about them. If you would like, physical schedule sheets, like the one shown here, can be found at the volunteer info table for you to use. Now that we've covered schedule and registration, let's talk about your time cards. We'll use these to track all of the Cthulhu Cash you've earned throughout the convention by having you check in at the volunteer table before and after each shift. If you forget to clock out after a shift, those hours will be forfeited, but as an extra incentive, the first shift you complete each day will earn you a token to redeem for a fairy gift. Again, we'll talk a little more about compensation later. When you are clocking out, please put in all the departments you worked during that shift. This will help CONCOM, or the convention committee, at the end of the convention where we're trying to select who will win the Best Volunteer Award. Department heads meet a lot of people over the weekend, so we want to make sure you're recognizable when they're needing to cast their votes for Best Volunteer. This is where the picture you provided us as a part of your volunteer application will come in handy. Quick plug, if you haven't already filled out a volunteer application, please do so now. This photo will be put on your volunteer profile where we'll keep track of all the amazing things our department heads have to say about you. We'll also use this profile to note down any areas for improvement, notes on which departments you're better suited for, and any referrals you've made. Let's get on to the good stuff. How we'll compensate you. We'll start with referral tokens. Every time you tell one of your friends how amazing it is to volunteer for MsCon, and encourage them to do the same, we'll put their name down on your volunteer profile. So long as your friend works a minimum of 2 hours as a volunteer, you'll receive a MsCon volunteer referral token as well as $5 of Cthulhu Cash. Any Cthulhu Cash earned through referrals is not capped, so keep sending your friends our way and make sure they drop your name in their application. Another way we like to compensate our volunteers is with our volunteer buttons. Here on the screen you'll see 3 buttons from years past. We want to differentiate you from the crowd, and each year the button will match the convention's theme, so make sure you collect them all. Once you've gotten your volunteer button, each day you volunteer, you'll be given a colored ribbon to proudly display on your button. We'll also use these ribbons to track the team you're voting for throughout the convention. Please note, you will not receive your volunteer button until we have a photo of you for your volunteer profile. Each year, we ask our volunteers to choose between 2 things related to that year's theme. Here you'll see a past convention where we asked our volunteers if they preferred villains or heroes. For each hour you volunteer, you'll get 1 vote for your team. When you start your first shift of the day, we'll give you your ribbon and ask you who your team is. Whichever team has the most votes by closing ceremonies will be deemed our winners. Everyone on this team will receive an extra ribbon, will be allowed to pick from an assortment of prizes, and will be given a fairy token to redeem for an extra gift. In order to be on the winning team, you must have selected the same team for the majority of your volunteering days. The button on the screen denotes this volunteer selected heroes for the majority of their days, so they would be considered on the heroes team, win or lose. If you do happen to be on the losing team, you won't get a prize or extra ribbon, but the Fae will likely toss a token your way in appreciation of your hard work. Both the Fae and volunteer chairs will require you to present your ribbons before any prizes are given. Speaking of the Fae, what do those little tricksters have in store for you? Well, there's really no way to know for sure, For each token you're given, you'll make a deal with the Fae to trade your token for a gift of some kind. This gift could be anything from some vintage MizCon swag to a paperclip they thought looked particularly interesting. You'll just have to make your deal and see what you get. The magical device you'll use to make your deal will be located at the volunteer info table throughout Teardown, so you'll have plenty of time to sneak in your deal making. At the volunteer info table, you'll also find this Things to Know poster, which details how many hours equals how much Cthulhu Cash. Cthulhu Cash is always capped to the current cost of registration, so this chart may change over time. In this example, every 2 hours worked equals $5 of Cthulhu Cash, with a $5 bonus at 10 and 22 hours worked. Cthulhu Cash can be used to pay for your next year's registration, purchase art from the art room, and/or purchase merchandise from the vendors. But Cthulhu Cash must be collected by the end of the convention. We will not be tracking or holding on to it for you for future years. If you would like to use your Cthulhu Cash to pay for any portion of your registration for the next convention, be sure to stop by registration before closing ceremonies on Monday. Last but certainly not least, the creme de la creme, the top award a volunteer can earn, the Best Volunteer Award. The volunteer who has done the most for the convention will receive extra perks for being so amazing. Whether it be their upbeat attitude, the number of hours worked, or just their amazing personality, this volunteer proved that they are one of the things that makes MizCon great, and we want to reward them for this. This person will receive a complimentary badge for the next convention, an extra gift from the Fae, an additional gift from the volunteer table, as well as a certificate that has been personally signed by our guests of honors. That said, good luck on your quest to become Best Volunteer, and thank you for taking the time to watch this orientation. I hope this video has been informative and motivating for you. We can't wait to work with you and put you in the running for Best Volunteer. Please feel free to reach out to the volunteer chair with any questions you have, and don't forget to answer our quick survey to show you've watched this video.